I just want the funny stuff to come through. You know. Hi you guys, my name is Danielle Kartes and I'm with you today from my home kitchen in Seattle, Washington. And I am so excited to share with you sort of a pantry staple lemon meringue tart slash pie slash any sort of cooking vessel that you have. And I'm gonna sort of walk you through a couple different variations. I spend my life recipe developing and food styling, and most of all, trying to use the food that we have already. And I think it's really important that we do get a little innovative. I think that we're really diving deep into our pantries right now, and we're sort of looking to use up all the food, which I think is incredible. It's a great way to save money, and it's also a great way to surprise yourself, because necessity is the mother of invention. And I know that flour is a little scarce right now too. It might be hard to find flour. So we're actually using a mixture of almond flour and regular white flour. And I do realize that this is a wet measuring cup, but I needed something big so I could put the 2 cups of flour in here. And then we have a cup of almond flour. But get creative. If you don't have access to flour right now, use crackers. If you have a little bit of sugar, if you have crackers, graham crackers, Ritz crackers, saltine crackers, old cookies. If anything is a little bit stale, like it's been loving in your pantry for 6 months, get it into your oven on a baking sheet, and then you can actually take all of the moisture out and crisp it back up again. Perfect for a crust. So in the spirit of innovation, my new cookbook coming out called Meant to Share, comes out on May 5th, is this peanut butter chocolate tart. And you might be asking me why I'm showing you a peanut butter chocolate tart when we're making a lemon meringue pie slash tart today, depending on your cooking vessel. Is because I'm sort of obsessed with sweetened condensed milk. And if you swap out the recommended amount of lemon juice for melted chocolate, you get a chocolate tart. If you swap out, because you might not have a lemon in your kitchen right now, and I really want you to be able to make a sweet treat. So maybe you don't have flour and maybe you don't have lemons, but you can make a completely different pie slash tart if you use peanut butter, which is so cool. So you need 3/4 of a cup of lemon juice. You're gonna swap it out for 3/4 of a cup of peanut butter. So let's get started on making our crust. And like I said, so let's think differently. I've got my 2 cups of flour. Maybe you don't have almond flour, but maybe you have a bag of old peanuts or old walnuts. You can actually pulse those in your food processor. You can pulse walnuts. It doesn't have to be the double bleached super fine. You can just sort of get innovative. Just start thinking, what do I have that I can add? Get an extra cup of it. So I'm gonna use my almond flour because I happen to have it. And what this does is it actually yields a really crispy, light, delicious texture, which is what I'm all about. And I'm a super messy baker slash cook, so I'm just gonna try and move it as I'm done with it to the back. So here's this, and then we have a cup of butter. So I have my softened butter over here. It's going in here. Come on in, baby. My husband, Michael, is my cameraman slash best friend slash husband. So he's gonna get right in there, and don't be shy. Show the people what they want. I'm putting my other butter in here. I'm going nice and slow because I always end up making a huge mess at this part. So in the mixer, we have regular flour, almond flour, and butter. And it's soft butter. You want nice soft butter. And now we're gonna do some kosher salt because every baked good needs a little bit of salt. My sister disagrees with me, but hey, I love salt in a baked good. And then we wanna do a little bit of sugar. So I'm just gonna do about 1/4 of a cup and leave that half there. And then we're gonna turn the magical mixer on. So come on over and watch this come together. This is very therapeutic. So look at how beautiful our crust. This is actually extra moist. When you press it, you want it to stick together. That's exactly what we're looking for. And then have a little helper. This is my son, Noah. He's super cool. And because we're on quarantine and we have some buzz clippers, I gave him a mullet. And he really loves it. I think he's super cute. So we're bringing the mullet back. But now I'm going to press my crust into my tart pan. And I want to talk a little bit about tart pans. This is awesome, has a removable base. Not everybody has this, and you don't need it to make a really cool pie slash tart. That's why I keep calling it a pie slash tart. The only thing that makes it a tart is a tart pan. If you want to use a pie plate, which is actually what I did earlier when I baked off a crust for you, I'm gonna set this back here. You totally can. There's no rule. If you use a smaller pie plate, like this little old-fashioned guy, you're gonna have a little bit of crust left. That's totally fine. Throw it in the freezer like I'm gonna do with this guy, because I'm not gonna bake out 2 pies for the 4 of us. You wanna sort of evenly space it all out, and then you just let your fingers go to work. You press, press, press. And this is actually kind of therapeutic. And I don't know about you, but we could all use a little therapy right now. Everybody's working from home, everybody's at home. And the beautiful part about it is like this 50-50 thing where I love being at home with my family, but then the other part of me sometimes goes a little bit crazy. Like I wanna just go get back into real life. But this really is real life. So I'm excited about it. But here, get in here and get your therapy on. And this is actually kind of important. So after I make sort of a regular base down here, I start using my fingers and pressing the crust up the sides of the pan. And you'll do this whether it's a cake pan, whether it's a pie tin. You're just gonna basically start working this bad boy up the sides. And once he's all perfect, and I actually keep the little finger marks in here. You don't have to make it smooth. It doesn't have to be like bakery award winning. I think that rustic things, like rustic joyful food, rustic things look better. I think they taste better. I think all the little nooks and crannies and crags are beautiful. I even like to leave all of these little craggles at the top. You can scoosh it down if you want to. Scooch, just a scooch. But I actually like the way that looks. I like the top. I also think that those crisp up really nicely when you bake it. I love that part. So now I'm back at the sink and I'm gonna whip my egg whites in this same bowl. But because we just put a lot of fat in the bowl, it is so important that there's no fat in the bowl. I'm gonna wash it really well. I'm washing up my little workstation before we actually crack the egg whites and do that fun part. Okay, so next thing we're gonna do is the filling part. And I'm gonna bring my beautiful pre-baked crust over, which is so pretty. And I did this one in a pie plate. And here we've got all that texture that I was talking about. It's crispy and crunchy and so tasty. I'm gonna switch over here up to my whisk attachment. Whisk. Perfect. And now we're gonna crack the eggs. So, you guys, I see all of the internet hacks on how to separate an egg. I just like the old school one where you wrap it a little bit on your counter. You open it up over here. Here, get in closer, baby. Open them up, room temperature egg, and you just go back and forth into your actual mixing bowl. Yolk into this bowl. And I purposefully do it from a little bit of a height so the yolk splats open. That has nothing to do with cooking. That has everything to do with the pure satisfaction of the yolk breaking open for me. Let's say an emergency happens and you get a small bit of yolk in your egg white. What do? Well, I have a little secret for you. Shell is attracted to shell. So if you take your little eggshell, you get a little tiny bit of shell in there, it's gonna pull it out. Well, shell also likes yolk. So you can go in there and just scoop it out. Just make sure that you just don't wanna mix the yolk up in here because you won't get a nice, stiff, glossy, beautiful peak when we're whipping our meringue. Okay, here goes the third one. We're gonna do 4 eggs. And I used to think that there was no such thing as a rotten egg. Oh, look at that, I just did it. So let me show you how I get it out. Here's my little shell. And I'm just gonna get out all, see that? Look at him. He just went back into his home like it's almost as if it sucked it up. Boom. I'm actually so excited. That's never happened to me before because I'm such a perfect cook and I never get any shell and stuff. Or excuse me, yolk and stuff, but it worked. Now let's see if it whips. What was that, 3? 3 eggs? We need 4. Okay. Okay. Here comes the next one. Boom. Okie dokie. Next up comes the actual so much fun part. So, what I like to do is separate this out. So here we've got our sweetened condensed milk. This is a 14-ounce can. They look like this. I'm sure there's a load of recipes on the internet where you can actually make your own sweetened condensed milk. I have not attempted it. I am assuming it has to do with condensing milk, so boiling it down with sugar over a lot of hours. to create this sort of syrupy gold mine of deliciousness. If you don't have condensed milk, but you do have actual milk, get on Google, become very good friends, and find a recipe. I'm sure you can do it. Okay, you want to use every little bit of it. So we're getting, it's like liquid gold. Okay, and it's really just milk and sugar, that's it. This can go down in here. This I'm gonna keep over here because I'm gonna use it again. And now we're also going to do the lemon part. So I wanna zest a little bit. So I've got my lemons, they're washed, they're juicy. You know what else? I like an older lemon for this. Like a lemon that isn't like super firm that you've just picked it. I want a lemon that's been on your counter for like a week. I mean, we're not going anywhere. So there may be some lemons hanging out. And then you're just gonna press him. A lot of people will be like, oh, roll it on the counter. I mean, that's a wonderful method too. But I kind of like the stress ball method. I want 3/4 of a cup of juice. And normally, oh, I want a fork too. You can follow me. When you guys were gone and not with me just like 1 second ago, I was actually tearing all over my kitchen looking for a fine mesh strainer. I have a really cool one that just sits inside the bowl. So I can just do this and ream my lemon. Oh, he's squirting. You wanna just get all of your lemons in here. And yes, those are seeds, but don't worry, I'm gonna fish them out as soon as we're done because I couldn't find my strainer. This works too. Basically any method you have to get the juice in the bowl. I'm just gonna get a little bit of zest. I need a new zest or a little rasp because this one's not so sharp anymore, but you get the idea. And a little bit of that zest in there. No me shy. Next comes the amazing part of just mixing it up. So come over here, we've got our lemon zest. That feels like a lot of lemon juice, but it's perfect. It's gonna yield a gorgeous tart. Oh, I think I see a seed in there, but I'm gonna mix this all up first. A whisk works awesome, but I didn't really want to dirty another utensil. So we're just gonna use our spatula and see it start to come together. It's almost like it's an emulsifying act in here. Get the acid coming together with the sugar and the dairy. Ew, can you hear that? It's like ASMR. Okay, so look at, this is what we're looking for, this beautiful creamy custard. And this is gorgeous. And if you used peanut butter, it would come together in the same way. Sometimes it can be a little bit thicker with the peanut butter, so you can thin it out with a little bit of milk or heavy cream. And you can use any citrus. You have grapefruits lying around, oranges are wonderful. It is all just really delicious. So whatever you want with the sweetened condensed milk and the eggs, whatever flavoring, just choose your own adventure. So now we're gonna fill our beautiful pre-baked tart / pie, because I really wanna make it work for you guys, whatever you have, into our pretty vessel. And really get it all in there because it's liquid gold. It smells like sunshine. You need to make this. So this I'm gonna set over here. And now, one thing you'll notice in the recipe that you're gonna find, shake them around a little bit. Oh, did you get that? Shake them, make them nice and even. And he's gonna go into the oven for only 12 to 15 minutes. You're not looking for this little guy to cook a ton of time. You just wanna set the custard. And here he goes into my dirty oven, so don't worry. 10 to 15 minutes, 325. And now let's make meringue. This is like the best, most satisfying part of the whole thing. Okay, I'm low-key nervous about my meringue because the yolk actually went in there, but we used our little trick and scooped him out, so I think we're gonna be okay. I hope we're gonna be okay. I mean, if not, we have more eggs and we'll be okay. Okay, let's get started. So the first thing we're gonna do is add a little christening tablespoon. We're gonna actually end up adding 3/4 of a cup of sugar, but I'm just gonna go slowly and gradually. And then we're gonna do a pinch of salt because you know me and salt and baked goods. And here we go. You set your mixer on low. Oh, here, that's probably better to get him started. We're almost there. So this is like really marshmallow creamy. I wanna show you. But look at how pretty that is. It falls back on itself, but We're still very gritty, so we're not there yet. But it's got that denseness that you want. You don't want to over whip this because, again, I don't like that sort of foamy pull apart that a meringue can get if you're not careful. We're looking very close to the finish line. So now what we're checking for, still gorgeous, falling back on itself. You've got this soft, beautiful peak, but what I'm still after, it's still a little bit gritty. So we can take it a little further. Your meringue is not done if you can still feel the granules of sugar, but they're dissolving, don't worry, but look how pretty. I think this is so cute. And these beautiful, delicate little marshmallowy swirls are what gives this whole pie slash tart all of its character. And I don't have a blowtorch, so I'm just gonna pop them under the broiler. But here, we're gonna take them a little bit further and get rid of that grit. The meringue is done and it's so beautiful. Look at that. That's going to create the most beautiful little bronzy bits when we put them back in the oven to do the top of the pie. And several things we're gonna talk about right now. You want to put your meringue on a cool pie. So a pie that's been cooled or chilled right before you serve it. Now you can do this both ways, and I do all kinds of recipe testing so that I can kind of like troubleshoot for people. And now my hot pie is coming out of the oven straight away. I'm gonna put the meringue, I've put the meringue on top before, and it just weeps a little bit, so you kind of get like a sugary syrup on top, which is perfectly edible. It can make your meringue slide around a little bit, but if you don't have time to, you know, refrigerate it, cool it down. Oh, hope we're ready. If you are impatient like I am sometimes, it will not hurt it to do it all in one fell swoop. To remove it from the hot oven, meringue it, and then set it into the refrigerator to sort of cool down. And your meringue is pretty stable at this point. Sugar is a stabilizer, so it's not going to deflate. You don't have anything to worry about, but it will melt a little if you don't cool him down the whole time. Kristen! Hi.
Hi.
Hi. What is that?
Maggie.
That's not Auntie Maggie, that's Kristen. Say hi, Kristen. Kristen, our friend. I want to welcome Kristen, my dearest friend from Food 52. She's a genius. She's the creative director of Genius Recipes, as if she needed an introduction. But she's in New York and I'm in Seattle, and we thought it would be really fun to invite her in. And I just miss you.
I miss you too. I wish we lived closer. And I wish that I could just come over for lemon meringue pie and donuts, the
Yeah.
Noah cakes, and all the great things that you guys are making at your place.
So we have our genius meringue, and look at, I want to show how dense this is. Look at this. When you scoop in here, it's so dense and gorgeous. Look at, put him over. And I love messy, beautiful blobs, because all these little peaks and valleys are gonna yield really beautiful browning under the broiler. And then you can leave it like this if you wanted to, or you can make extra little, look at that. Isn't that cool? Or you can do little tiny swirls. I like to do opposite world, like little peaks and valleys. You feel like a rock star when you make a pie like this. This isn't just like a regular pie, double cruster, whatever. Those are special too and they're delicious. But there is something so technically beautiful about making a meringue pie. You're like, I did that. I did that. Like, you did this. You're gonna do this. It's so, so easy.
I love that you have an easy lemon meringue pie because that has always kind of scared me off. It seems like it's going to be a lot of work, so many components, so many things that could go wrong.
Yeah.
But
this is...
If you say it's easy, I believe you.
Yeah. I can't wait for you to make this because it's actually... I'm going to send you a care package. It'll have condensed milk and lemons in it. We're going to pop this bad boy under the broiler for 2 to 3 minutes, and then I'll show you when we finish. Oh, so perfect. Okay, and this is what happens so quick. Look how pretty. It looks perfect. It smells like toasted marshmallows. Okay, show Kristen too.
That's gorgeous.
Well, there you have it, you guys. A really beautiful, truly simple lemon meringue pie that you can jazz up with pantry staples. Like I said, you can use crackers for the base, any sort of citrus in the filling, go crazy with peanut butter and chocolate. I mean, the world is really your oyster. or your pie or your meringue pie. But I just want you to know from the bottom of my heart that we're pulling for you, we're in this together, and we're gonna be okay. So I hope that you can dig deep and find some joy right now and maybe make a pie.
Very inspiring.
I'm crying. Why do I always crack up and cry on our videos? Thank you so much. This was so much fun. If you guys want to see other recipes, make sure you put them in the comments. I'm up for anything. I like to take a sort of complicated recipe and really make it delicious and available for the masses using whatever we have on hand. And then if you want to buy my books, I would love that. And then if you want to follow me on Instagram, it's Rustic Joyful Food. Thank you so much, you guys. It was a pleasure.